أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه العبد المؤيد والرسول المسدد حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وصحابته المنتجبين. صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله، صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا ابن رسول الله، يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة ويا عبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة، يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ومن آياته أن خلق لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا لتسكنوا إليها وجعل بينكم مودة ورحمة. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
In this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states that He has created for humankind their partner. هو الذي خلق لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا. He created for all of us, for humankind, a partner from us, from the same substance. For what reason did He create partners for human beings? He created partners for men and He created partners for women. For what reason? لِتَسْكُنُوا. The purpose behind the creation of men and women, men created for women and women created for men, for something in Arabic called sakina. What is sakina? Sakina is comfort. It's relaxation. It's a peace of mind. Spiritual comfort, emotional comfort. This is a reason. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created partners for one to support the other, for one to comfort the other, for one to hold the back of the other, and to provide emotional comfort, and to provide support. You see, my dear brothers and sisters, human beings are in need of companionship. No matter how rich a man can be making millions of dollars. And no matter how much of a cook he is, how good of a cook he is, and his food could be more delicious than 1,000 women combined, and he can bring a bunch of janitors at home to clean his house, but that is not enough. That is not enough. A man is in need of a companion. He needs someone with him. Not just to cook, not just to clean, not just to even bring him children, even though making children and having children is as an essential part of getting married. There are some that get married to have children. That is not the sole purpose. We human beings are social beings. We can't live on ourselves. We can't live on ourselves. We like companionship. Imagine if paradise that is described in the Quran, Jannah that is very beautiful, but imagine you were the only person in paradise. Would you like to go there? No. Because it becomes an awful place. You'll be by yourself. Even if you have the most beautiful palaces and the most beautiful rivers and trees and gardens, but you're by yourself. What good is it? Human beings are social beings. They need companionship. They need another soul with them to be their life partner. And the same thing with women. A woman, no matter how rich she could be, there are some women that say, I don't need to get married. I already have a job. I make a good living. I know how to sustain myself and protect myself. Why do I need a man in my life? Of course, this is what she says. But she's trying to fool others and trying to fool herself. There's no woman that could say, I don't need a husband. Or a man that says, I don't need a wife. They need each other. They need each other for comforting, for support, to live life's journey together. Life is a journey. And you need a companion to support you. This is the beauty of marriage. The whole point of marriage is that you choose a partner that will support you in life. Life is full of challenges, as we talked about a couple of days ago. Life is full of struggles and problems. You can't do it on your own. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created partners for us to live these obstacles together. At good times, at bad times. As Christians say when they get married, for richer, for poor. Till death to us part. The whole point is to live together and face these problems together. Grow together. Grow old together. And that's the whole joy of learning to share your life. We human beings, sometimes hard for us to share. But this life of ours, we're meant to share it with someone. And that's the beauty of it, that you share with another life partner of yours. You share your life. You complete one another. The weaknesses that you have, your partner fills in the gap. It completes you. He completes you. She completes you. You complete one another. Some might say, what the hell are you talking about? How come my marriage is nothing like what you're describing? My marriage is completely the opposite. You might be thinking, well, my marriage is a living hell. There's nothing about completion. There's nothing about comfort. There's nothing about spiritual companionship. My marriage is nothing but problems and difficulties and fights and arguments. I have a friend, I have a colleague in Hausa with me. He's always upset, and I know why he's upset. It's because he's having troubles with his wife. Whenever he comes to class, he looks depressed, he's not in the mood to talk to anyone. He doesn't even pay attention to the teacher when the teacher's speaking. He's always depressed and in a bad mood. One day he came to class, smiling, laughing, throwing jokes. I told him, oh, alhamdulillah, finally you settled the argument with your wife. He said, what argument? What are you talking about? My wife is out of the country. Some people, their life is a living hell. Their marriage life is a living hell. The man, as soon as he comes back from work, it's nothing but fights and nothing but arguments. And sometimes over the smallest things, over the most ridiculous things. Well, this is not how marriage is supposed to be. Marriage is supposed to be a happy thing, a happy place, a comfort zone. A husband wants to come back home from work where he has to compete with other men, when he has to earn a living in a very difficult economy, when he has to worry about paying the mortgage, paying the credit card companies, and so on and so forth. But when he wants to come at home, he wants a place that he can relax in. He doesn't want to come from one fight at work to another fight at home. No man wants that. Every man wants home to be a place of comfort, a place of relaxation, a place where he can come and settle. No more fights, no more arguments, no more battles, no more tense relationships. And at the same time, no wife wants to fight. No wife wants to have an eternal struggle with her husband. Every wife wants to live a peaceful life. She wants her house to be a peaceful house, not a zoo. Not a place of arguments and fights. But sometimes that wife doesn't get what she wants. There's a poem in Arabic that says, لا كل ما يتمناه المرء يدركه تجري الرياح بما لا تشتهي السفن. Not everything that you get, you want. Sometimes it comes back to us. Marriage is supposed to be a good thing, a happy thing. But sometimes the couples end up doing the wrong thing. They say that a wife, her husband, she lost her husband. He ran away, I don't know what he did. So she grabbed her son and she came to the police station. And she said, I want to report my husband, he's missing. I want you to look for him. They said, yes, describe him. She said, well, he's really tall, he's 6 feet tall. He's very muscular. He's blonde, blue eyes. The child looked at his mom and said, Mom, that's not the descriptions of Baba. She said, shut up, I know, I want them to find another husband. Sometimes you might reach a stage in which you decide to give up. You know what, forget about this guy, let me go find someone else. We're not Catholics. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made divorce halal. Let me just divorce. Let me end it. Even though halal, yes, divorce is halal in Islam. We're not like Catholics. Catholics are not allowed to divorce. In Islam, we're allowed to divorce. However, even though it's allowed, it's the most hated thing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In a hadith, أبغض المباحات عند الله الطلاق. عند الطلاق يهتز عرش الله. Another hadith. Allah hates divorce. Allah hates it when a couple resort to divorcing. That should be the last solution. The last solution to a marital problem should be divorce. But unfortunately, you see it in our communities. In the West, in America, in Europe, I don't know about here in Australia. In America, 50% of marriages end up in divorce. Imagine how much they spend on their weddings. Have you seen how much they spend? They spend thousands of dollars. Some even go to a wedding planner who takes no less than $20,000 just to design their wedding. The cake, the dress, the ring, the ballroom, the guests, the cards. Now imagine all that money is spent on this. After a year or 2 years, usually maximum 2 years, 50% of that goes to waste. Did you know that in America, the most successful industry is what industry? Is the wedding industry. The companies that work for weddings, the flowers, the dress, the rings, the ball, companies that provide for weddings, they're the most successful ones. Because every day there's a divorce, they get married, they divorce, and they go and marry someone else. An average American probably marries twice in their lifetime. This doesn't mean there's something wrong with the marriage. There's something wrong with the couple themselves. They're not carrying out their duties. If every husband sticks to his duties and does what he does, what he's supposed to, and every wife sticks to what she's supposed to do, they don't cross the boundaries, they don't disrespect each other, nothing would go wrong. That marriage would stay safe. But sometimes, my dear brothers and sisters, it's more than rights and duties. You see, it's also foolish to think that I see some couples, because sometimes we do marriage counseling. It's foolish for some couples to come and say, okay, let me write my rights, and let me write your rights. My right is this, 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 and this. And her rights are 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. Is this how a marriage is supposed to work? Your rights and my rights? What are we, like a government and citizens? This is not civil law. This is a marriage that's supposed to last forever. It's not about rights and duties. I remember when we were kids, and I'm sure this happened to you with your brothers and sisters. If you share a room, you come and draw a line right in the middle. This is my half of the room, and this is your half of the room. You don't cross my line, I don't cross your line. You come to the closet, you draw. Okay, when you're kids, you're allowed to do this. This is fine. But when you're 30 years old, when you're 40 years old, when you're in a marriage, can you do this with your wife and children? Can a wife do this with her husband, or a husband does this with his wife? Absolutely not. You can't stick to rights and obligations, even though you're supposed to, but it should be more than that. The Quran says, وَعَاشِرُهُنَّ بِمَعْرُوفٍ. Be kind to one another. Show kindness to one another. After all, this marriage is supposed to last. Sallu ala Muhammad wa alihi. One of the major problems in a lot of marriages, they're both good people. You will see the husband, he's a really good person, especially in the community. He likes to help out. He's a good person. He has good akhlaq. He has good manners. He's nice to everyone. But at home, he's different. Same thing goes with the lady. She's a good lady. She's a good Muslim. Her hijab is perfect. Everything about her is good. But with her husband, she's different. One of the main problems about men and women is that men and women don't understand one another. They don't understand one another. Men judge women according to their standards, and women judge men according to their standards. A man expects his wife to think like him. He doesn't realize that a woman thinks in a different way. She behaves in a different way. She loves in a different way. Even her emotions are different. And the same goes for a woman. She expects her husband to think like her. She doesn't realize that men think in a different way. They behave in a different way. They react to certain problems and issues in a different way. But the problem is, we think that we react in the same exact way. So when we get a different reaction, we panic. Let me give you an example. your wife is really upset for some reason. Either because her husband isn't giving her enough time and attention. He goes to work for too long. He goes over to his mother's house too much. And there's a huge problem. If a man gives his mother more attention than his wife, there's a huge issue. He's spending too much time with his friends. For some reason, he comes back home and he sees his wife is upset. She's not speaking to him. She's treating him coldly. He asks her, and I'm sure you face this, he asks her, what's the problem? Is there something wrong? And what does she say? No. He says, no? Okay, alhamdulillah. And he goes and he sleeps. This to her is like a stab in the back. Saying, oh, okay, alhamdulillah. What the hell is this? You're supposed to come and say, no, sweetheart, please, tell me. And he starts begging. Why? Why does the man say, okay, alhamdulillah? Because when when there's nothing wrong with a man, he'll say there's nothing wrong with me. And if there's something wrong with him, he'll say, there's something wrong with me. He's not going to play hard to get and say, no, there's nothing wrong and there's something wrong with him. If there's something wrong with him, he'll just say it. If there's nothing wrong, he won't say it. You see the difference? And there'll be a problem. The man will go to sleep and he'll start snoring. And the wife will sit for 2 hours, her blood is boiling. How could he go to sleep? How could he do this to me? And she'll come back to bed very upset. She might even elbow him once in a while they're asleep. And the problem will take maybe 2 days, 3 days. Why? Because he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know what's going on. She told him that there's nothing wrong. Close, there's nothing wrong. They think differently. Men and women think differently. That's why it's very important to try to understand one another. For men to understand women and women to understand men. I'll give you another example. Men and women are very different. That's why there's a book called Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. To the point that some people think men and women are from different planets. Let me give you another example. Men hate change. They hate change. At home, they like everything the same way. They like things the same. They hate to change things. They hate to change the furniture. The man will probably get the same haircut for 20 years. He'll go to the same barber for 20 years. He'll eat the same food for a while. He doesn't care. Men hate change. He wants to come back from work and he wants everything the same. But women love change. Once every 2 months, they want to change something in the house. Even if it's something small. But they like change. Because it gets boring without change. Even if it's changing the sofa, for example. This sofa comes here and that one goes over there. It's a small change. But it's nice for them. Life doesn't get too boring. So what happens is, when they clash, the man doesn't like change, and the woman likes change. This creates a clash between them. When the woman consistently wants change, and the man hates that change, he won't like it. He'll go to the cupboard. He wants to look for the salt. It's not there. Because she's come and she's changed everything in the cupboards. The stuff that were in this cupboard, they've come in this one. He looks for the salt. Ya bint al-halal. Where is it? He doesn't. She tells him it's next to the pepper. Okay, where the hell is the pepper? So on and so forth. There's a lot of psychological differences. But men and women don't realize it. A man sometimes thinks, you know what, if I'm happy in this marriage, why isn't she happy? Things are going well. And the thing is, women, they have a tendency, especially if they love the man, they have the tendency to keep it inside. Women have the tendency to offer love. If she loves a man genuinely, her love is unconditional. She keeps on giving and offering. There's no limit to a woman's love. She keeps on giving. Even if the man does not give in return. Even if the man is greedy with his love, but the woman gives and gives and gives. Until she reaches a point in which she's fed up. When the man becomes lazy, and men do become lazy. Men think that they can only buy a woman's love in the beginning. In the beginning, if he buys her love, that means he can become lazy now. He doesn't need to work anymore. He doesn't need to make an effort, keep an effort. He doesn't need to do anything anymore. While the wife keeps on giving. She offers. She wakes up early in the morning. She works. She probably takes the kids to school. She dresses them. She feeds them. She goes and picks them up from school. She works at the house without asking for anything in return. But she expects that the husband, one day, sooner or later, he'll give something back. He'll return the favor. But the man becomes lazy. He thinks that he's earned her love. He doesn't. And some men, and I won't make generalizations, some men, they have this habit of having this one-to-one sort of thing. Well, I did this for you, now you need to do this for me. I took the kids to school today, tomorrow you have to take them to school. Even the women are not like this. A woman that loves, she doesn't mind taking the kids to school 2 months in a row. Because she loves the man. She'll give him a break. She understands that he has well, most do, not all, that he's had it tough at work. But if a man, he takes the kids to school today, tomorrow, it has to be her job. Men have this. This is wrong. This is when a man has to stop being lazy and think that this woman is also a human being. She also deserves respect. She also deserves support and assistance. Just like we men are under pressure at work, we have to make a living, we have to pay off the mortgage, we have a lot of loans. Well, women are under pressure as well. But they're under a different kind of pressure. If we are under the pressure of paying off loans, women are under a different kind of pressure. We have to give them slack as well. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Again, the problem is when we don't understand one another. When we don't understand one another, when we don't understand the differences between each other, we'll have a problem. Some women complain that my husband doesn't love me. He doesn't show me any love. She says, I love him, but he doesn't love me back. Why? Because her love is different than his love. The way she shows love is different. The way a woman shows love is different than the way a man shows love. For example, a woman shows love by saying, I love you 10 times a day. She'll hug, she'll cuddle, she'll want kisses, she'll want phone calls from work. This is her love. She can stay up till 6 in the morning talking to you. This is very warm love that a woman offers. This is the love that women offer. But men love as well. It's not that men are not capable of loving. Men also love, but it's in a different way. Men, they don't say, I love you 10 times a day. Men probably don't like to hold hands when you're walking on the beach. But that doesn't mean he doesn't love you. Men probably don't like to snuggle and give you a nickname like teddy bear or something like that. They don't do that. But it doesn't mean he doesn't love you. Men love in a different way. You know how men love? When a man loves a woman, he provides for her. He provides for her. All the money that he makes, he puts it in front of his wife. And he provides for her. He will make sure that his wife doesn't need anything, that she won't need to ask someone else. If his wife and children are in need financially, emotionally, he'll provide. For men, this is the way they provide love. This is the way they show their love. By providing and protecting and supporting. He might not tell you 20 times a day that he loves you. He might not be romantic and bring candlelight dinner and all that and take you to an Italian restaurant on a Friday night. He might not do that. But it doesn't mean that he doesn't love you. He shows his love by providing. By putting everything that he makes. When he goes out to work 8 hours or 9 hours or 10 hours a day, he goes out and he works. At the end of the day, where's his money going? It's coming to you. It's going to his wife. It's going to his family. It's not going anywhere else. For men, that is love. He's showing his love now. But some women, they don't understand that. They say, well, if he doesn't talk to me, if he ignores me, when I talk to him, he's not listening, he's not paying attention. That means he doesn't love me. If he comes late from work, that means he must be cheating on me. Where else could he be? You know, they say that when a man comes late from work, traditionally, especially in Iraq, men would stay where? Even after getting married, where would they live? With their parents, with their family. They say that when a man comes late from work, 2 women are waiting for him and they're worried about him. His mother and his wife. But they're worried for 2 different reasons. His mother, she says, my poor child. He's either in a car accident, or someone beat him up, or he might have had a heart attack. Maybe someone killed him. She thinks this way. That's why when he comes back from home, she kisses him, she embraces him. In Iraqi, she might even say, Yumma fidwa tulak. Where were you? He kept me worried. This is his wife. And this is his mother. But his wife, she's thinking, he's probably with the secretary. He's probably with another lady. He's probably cheating. She doesn't think he might have gotten in a car accident. She's thinking he's probably cheating. So when he comes back, what does she say? Hawlek. Complete different reaction. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Thus, sometimes women, because she can't translate a man's actions in the proper way, her mind goes somewhere else. He thinks he's cheating. Or he's with another lady. Or his mind is somewhere else. No. For example, this is one of the differences between men and women. Men, they can only concentrate on one thing at a time. One thing at a time. Am I correct or no? If you're reading a newspaper, you can only concentrate on a newspaper. They can't do anything else. If they're watching TV, he can't be talking to you at the same time. Men can't be watching the news on TV and at the same time having a romantic conversation with his wife. He can't do it. If he's either reading the newspaper, or he's watching TV, or he's talking to you, or he's talking on the phone. He can't do this all at the same time. But women, they have the ability to do a bunch of things at the same time. A friend told me that one day I came back home and I saw my wife cooking, talking on the phone, watching a Turkish TV series, and taking care of her child all at the same time. Woman could do that. And she thinks, well, if I could do this, if I could maneuver 4 things at the same time, if I can be talking with my girlfriend and him at the same time, well, why can't he be doing the same thing? Why can't he be reading the newspaper and talk to me at the same time? Doesn't work. Doesn't happen. Men can't do that. Men can only focus on one thing. So when they do this, the woman automatically thinks that he doesn't care for me, that he ignores me, that he doesn't love me, and so on and so forth. My dear brothers and sisters, let me conclude. The key to a successful marriage is understanding one another. don't jump to conclusions. We humans, we jump to conclusions right away. As soon as my wife doesn't answer me, I jump to conclusions. Or the husband ignores me, the husband ignores the wife, she jumps to conclusions. Hold on, be patient, and try to understand one another. Men and women are different. Don't judge him according to your thoughts and emotions. Don't judge her according to your thoughts and emotions. Judge women according to who they are, and men according to who they are. Try to understand one another, and a lot of the problems will be fixed. Marriage requires sacrifice. Marriage requires compromise. That is why, and I get to my second point. My second point is addressing the youth. That is why marriage at a young age is something recommended in Islam. And it's something very important. Because when you're young, when you're in your early 20s, when you haven't picked up too many bad habits or too many habits, you can easily sacrifice, you can easily compromise. Marriage requires compromise. If you're used to sleeping till 12 noon every day when you get married, that's not going to happen. If you're used to sleeping at 3 in the morning every night, when you get married, that can't happen anymore. Now you have a wife, now you have a husband. You have to make sacrifices and compromises. You can do that when you're young. When you're young, when your habits aren't set in stone, you can do it. When you're still young, you can change any habit, whatever that habit is. Whether it's your sleeping patterns, or your diet, or your hygiene, or whatever it is, you can change it when you're young. But when you wait until you're 40 years old, you say, you know what, I'm still young. Let me live, let me travel, let me see the world, and once I'm done, I'll settle down and get married at the age of 40. First of all, at the age of 40, there's not going to be much interest and demand. Let's be realistic. A guy that waits until he's 40 years old or 45 years old, until he wants to settle down, get an education, find a job, make enough money, and then he wants to settle down and find a wife at 40 years old. Not a lot of women are going to be shouting for him, waiting for them to marry him. And the same goes for young ladies who want to wait until they're 30 and 40 until they get married. There'll be less demand and less interest. Islam says get married at a young age. Get married at a young age. So many benefits of getting married at a young age. First of all, you'll be willing to make sacrifices. You'll be willing to make compromises. Your habits are not set in stone. You can change yourself when you're young. At 20, you're more capable of changing yourself than at 40. This is one. Number two, protecting yourself. When you're young, you're more prone to temptation, falling into temptation. You're more prone to making critical mistakes that sometimes can damage your life. But marriage protects. Marriage protects you. That is why the hadith says, and I recited this yesterday, من تزوج فقد أحرز نصف دينه. Or in another hadith, ثلثي دينه. He who gets married protects half of his faith, or 2/3 of his faith. Two-thirds of your faith is protected. Because when you have a husband, when you have a wife, who will be there for you, to support you, to help you become closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what I tell some youth when they want to choose a spouse, when they want to get married, especially young men. I tell them, my dear brothers, don't go for beauty. Beauty is important, but that shouldn't be your number one criteria. That shouldn't be your number one criteria. You have to be attracted, obviously. Don't marry someone that you're completely not attracted to. That marriage will fail. Marry someone that you're attracted to, but beauty should not be your number one priority and criteria. For some people, if she's beautiful, خلاص, he'll marry her. Now what about her faith, her akhlaq, her religion? Does she pray? Does she not pray? What about her hijab? Is her hijab complete? Or the convertible type? You know the convertible type? The hijab that comes up to here. When she's outside of the masjid, it's up to here. When she comes in the masjid, it's in. She covers the whole thing. That's why we call it convertible. It goes up and down. Does she have a complete hijab or a convertible hijab? Some brothers, they don't care. As long as she's beautiful, as long as his mom tells him that she's good looking, he'll marry her. Okay, she has beauty. And what's after that? Once you got used to her beauty, after 6 months, after a year, after 2 years, when her beauty is no longer a big deal, does she have any substance behind that beauty? Is it just the outer beauty or the inner beauty as well? What does she have? Does this person make you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or no? Makes you farther away from Allah. There's some people who get married, I see some people who get married, they become closer to Allah. This youth, before getting married, he would rarely come to the masjid. Now that he has a good wife, that brings him closer to Allah, he comes more often to the masjid. And there are other spouses that have completely the opposite effect. She makes her husband farther away from Allah. Some husbands make their wives farther away from Allah. So which kind of family do you want? Which kind of spouse do you want? Some youth tell me that, Sayyid, can I marry someone who's not religious, but after marriage I will affect this person, I will make him religious. I will make her religious. I tell them, no, you're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself. Who said you can make this person religious? Who said she won't have the opposite effect on you? The reversal effect on you. She makes you not religious. And we've seen families like this. I've seen families like this. I've seen couples like this. She was a good woman. She got married. The husband changed her. He told her to take off her hijab. And yes, unfortunately, there are some men without any pride. They ask their wives to take off their hijab. Make sure when you marry someone, they have a positive effect on you. Not you having a positive effect on them. Don't marry someone who's not religious with the hope of you're going to change this person. I'm going to change. Don't have false hopes. Don't fool yourself. Just because you're in love, or you can't stop thinking about this person and this person is the love of your life. Don't think emotionally when it comes to marriage. Try to think logically. Try to get a second opinion. Try to get the opinion of your friends and the elders in your community. Those who are wise, get their opinion. And one more word, my dear brothers and sisters. There are some youth that like to get married. There are youth that are ready to get married. And they've reached a good age of getting married. Some of them are financially capable. And some have even found the right person. Because this is also an obstacle of finding the right person. Some people tell me that I am ready to get married. But I haven't found the right person. I haven't found the right man. There's not enough good men in our community. Not just because, not good-looking men, but religious men. We don't have them in our community. But some do. Some have found someone. The problem is some parents become an obstacle. Some parents are an obstacle in the way of marriage. And this is very ironic because parents are supposed to make marriage easier. When a father has a couple of daughters and men come and propose to his daughters, he should be happy that his daughters are being protected. That someone religious will come and protect their daughter. There are some fathers, they'll become an obstacle. They're completely the opposite. He'll be too picky. I understand that fathers want to take care of their daughters. They're very overprotective. That's fine. Every father has the right to be overprotective of his daughter. But there are limits. There are limits. I know some fathers, he rejects every proposal. Because no proposal is good enough for his daughter. Why? Your daughter didn't come down from the sky. She didn't come down from heaven. She's a normal human being. If a good proposal comes to her, give her. How long do you want to keep her in your house as a prisoner? There are some that unfortunately they stop. They're barriers. They put obstacles in the face of their children that want to get married. This girl is not good enough for my son. Then who is? Who's good enough for your son? No, this girl is, she's 2 months older than him. So what? This girl is too short. That girl is too tall. This girl, her nose, I don't like her nose. What kind of wife do you want for your son? You will never find the most beautiful, the most perfect wife. No one's perfect. Let them get married. Or the parents that are too picky for their daughters. Whoever comes, he's not good enough. And I know that some couples, they wanted to get married because of some issues that Islam does not support. They did not get married. Some issues that maybe socially they're not acceptable, but religion does not stand against them. If the wife is older than the husband by a couple of years, so what? So what? Socially, it's not acceptable, but religiously, there's nothing wrong with it. Wasn't Khadija alayhi salam older than Rasulullah? Khadija, one of the most perfect women in history. Yet she was 15 years older than Rasulullah. In some narrations. Other narrations say she was 5 years older than Rasulullah. She was older. Some couples that like to get married, they're from different ethnicities. The girl is, for example, Iraqi, the guy is from Iran, for example. The parents say no. Why? Why? Just because he's from a different ethnicity, you have to say no? The important thing is, my dear brothers and sisters, it's not the tongue, it's not the ethnicity, it's not the passport that you carry. It's the faith and the akhlaq. These are the two most important qualities. مَنْ جَاءَكُمْ مَنْ تَرْضَوْنَ what? دِينَهُ وَخُلُقَهُ فَزَوُّجُوهُ. He didn't say from your hometown, from your country, from the same language that you speak. None of this. In some places, if the girl is from the lineage of Rasulullah, the husband has to be a Sayyid. If not, she cannot marry him. Who said this? Who said, which scholar, which alim, which marja' said that if the girl is from the lineage of Rasulullah, the husband has to be a Sayyid? Who said this? Or he has to be from our hometown or from our country. None of this. I've seen some of the best couples who are role models in the community. The husband is from one ethnicity and the wife is from another ethnicity, and they're the cutest couples. And they're role models. The husband is the best husband and the wife is the best wife. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. There was a man during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. One of the Sahaba of Rasulullah. One of the Sahaba of Rasulullah, his name was Juwaybir. Juwaybir was poor. He was black. He wasn't too good looking. He didn't own a house and he didn't have a family. He would come and sleep inside the masjid of Rasulullah. There was a corner inside the masjid called As-Safwa. As-Safwa was a corner that Rasulullah built for the homeless. Whoever didn't own a house, he would come and sleep in the Safwa. Juwaybir would always come and sleep in the Safwa. He didn't own a house. One day Rasulullah saw him. Rasulullah felt bad for him. He was lonely. He didn't have a family. He was from a country called Yamama. very far away from the Arabian Peninsula. Rasulullah felt bad for him. He told him, Ya Juwayber, inshallah, one day you will have a family of your own, a wife, a pious wife. You will have children. I don't know about children. I don't know if he said children. But you will have a family and you will have a house. Juwayber started laughing. He said, Ya Rasulullah, me? A person like me will ever get married? Who will give their daughter to a person like me? I'm from a far country like Yamama. I'm poor. I'm black. I'm not good looking. Who will give their daughter to a person like me? Where will I have a house of my own? Rasulullah told him, Ya Juwayber, this is Islam. We're all Muslims. In Islam, there's no difference between white and black. There's no difference between an Arab and a non-Arab. We're all the same in the eyes of Allah. إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. The greatest among you is the one who has most piety. The one who's most righteous and pious is the best. Not the one who speaks a specific language or has of a race or color. Rasulullah gave him hope. And he said, in fact, get up. There's a man, his name is Abu Ziyad, from the Ansar, from the natives of Medina. He has a daughter by the name of Al-Dhalfa. I want you to go to Abu Ziyad right now. You go to his house, give him my salam, and tell him that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that I want you to give your daughter in marriage to me, to Juwayber. He said, Ya Rasulullah, are you serious? This man is from the Ansar. There's no way that he will give his daughter to me. Rasulullah told him, do as I said. Go and tell him. Juwayber got very excited. He was very happy. He sets off to the house of Abu Ziyad. He knocks the door. Assalamu alaikum, alaykum assalam. Come on in. He tells him, Ya Abu Ziyad, Rasulullah has sent me. He sent his peace upon you. And he says, allow me to marry your daughter Ad-Dalfa. The man said, I am honored that Rasulullah has sent you. However, and I honor Rasulullah's request. However, we the people of Medina, we give our daughters to people like us. I am from the Ansar. And I was hoping to give my daughter to another man from the Ansar. We give our daughters to each other. We don't give our daughters to strangers. His daughter was standing behind the curtain listening. Juwayber was very upset and he was very disappointed. He said, but by God, this is not the teachings of Islam. This is not the teachings of Rasulullah and of the Quran. He got up and he left. He left the house. Ad-Dalfa, she came out. She told him, my father, what did you do? Why did you reject him? Didn't he say that Rasulullah has sent him? Why did you reject him? He said, what should I do? She said, go and call him back. Call him back and accept. This is a request from Rasulullah. Don't reject Rasulullah. Abu Ziyad goes, he calls Juwayber and he brings him back. And he says, Ya Juwayber, remain at home. Let me go and speak to Rasulullah. Abu Ziyad goes and speaks to Rasulullah. He tells him, is this true? Did you really request that my daughter marries Juwayber? He said, yes. He said, خلاص ya Rasulullah, I accept. If my daughter accepts, I accept. Ad-Dalfa accepted. She accepted. After a couple of days, they had a wedding and they got married. Juwayber, a man from Yamama, who was black, poor, not good looking, married a good looking girl from the Ansar, an Arab girl. And her father was rich. Yet they had the wedding, and Rasulullah was at the wedding. He was there. They had a wedding, and then they went into their simple house. Not a small house, simple house. What was interesting is that the night of their wedding, right at the beginning, when they went into the house after the wedding, Juwayber goes in the corner of the house and he starts praying. 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. The wife is waiting impatiently, but the guy keeps on praying until she falls asleep, until the time of Fajr. He prays Salat al-Subh and khalas, he goes out for work. The women come to her, they tell her, what happened? You know how some women are very nosy. They want to know what happened. She said, to be honest, nothing happened. Nothing? Nothing. Are you serious? Yes. Nothing happened. Well, what happened? She said, he was standing at a corner, praying all night. She said, they told him, that's ridiculous. Should we go and tell your father? Should we tell Rasulullah? She said, no. Let's see what happens next night. The next night, again, from the beginning of the night, Juwaybar goes, stands at the corner, and he spends the entire night in worship and praying. The poor lady, she sits impatiently. Perhaps she was even reciting Amman Yujib al-Muhtar. Nothing happened until the morning. Again, the nosy ladies, they come again and they started asking the annoying questions. Did anything happen? She said no. Third night, again, Juwaybar goes and stands at the corner and he prays all night. When the nosy ladies, the third day, they discovered this, they said, "Khalas, enough is enough. There's something wrong with your husband. Let's go and tell your